people? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Eastern Lariat. I'm your host, Dylan Fox. STRIGGA is away right now. He is actually in London visiting the Progress show. Lots of different wrestlers there doing his thing, going on vacation. He's been working hard lately, so hopefully he's having a great time. Just know we miss you, STRIGGA, and he will be back very soon in the coming month of June. I know we talked about it last episode. He had already started talking about the half-year awards. Now, I have a secret plan for the awards this year that will be revealed in the coming weeks for sure, because there's still some, I's to dot, T's to cross. But I'm here, and today is a very special episode. This is a Bushy Road episode edition because we've got the best of Super Juniors we talked about, but there was a major Stardom show we are going to talk about. And since Stardom's on the agenda, New Japan's on the agenda, I'm here. That means, as always, I have to turn to my guy. He's been on the Patreon a ton of times. If you're a subscriber, you know all about him. And if you're a listener to our other show, The Dramatic Dream Dragons, a phrase coined on the Patreon that turned into its own show on the 5 Star Network. It's a lovely show all about DDT and Dragon Gate. And he is my fellow co-host on that show and somebody who has done a great job. I'm really happy to have him on. You heard him last year. We were on talking about the New Japan and Stardom crossover. Sondre Bjørn, all the way from Norway. So great to have you back on.
Yeah, I'm back for the first time since the Yokohama Arena show, which I also was on.
That's true. Now, our biggest YouTube show of all time by leaps and bounds. So if you want to take credit for that and say you're a draw, I totally approve.
I refuse to take credit for that.
Oh, you don't want to take credit because you want to give Tom all the credit, right?
What? Sure.
Tom Nakano, the super draw.
I'll give Tom credit now in the start.
Yes, before we talk about her match, the show, which we may have some different opinions on. But a lot's happened, man. It's been a crazy time for just wrestling in general. But this show here, talking about Best of Super Juniors, me and you have covered the show on the Patreon. Basically, up to this point, the schedule is so weird sometimes because, like, one of our episodes was like the first 4 nights, and then me and STRIGGA did a couple of nights on the free feed, and then me and you came back for a few more nights, and it led us to the semifinals of the tournament. And, we talked about it last week. We did a show a few days ago prior. And basically, things worked out a little bit different than we thought, to say the least. Our predictions were not exactly foolproof, but that's okay.
We both predicted Desperado to win the tournament.
Yes, I predicted Desperado from the start to win the tournament.
Yeah, same.
They clearly did not play out that way. Just to go into the semifinals before we get to the finals, we'll lead you on this tale if you missed them. And actually, both semifinals were really good matches, too.
Yeah,
great matches. Yeah, well worth watching.
Especially Desperado and Titan.
Yeah. I mean, both of them are so good, I thought. Wato and Bailey was the first match. This actually has a higher rating, but only by a little bit. Cage match, 8.37 for that and 8.28 for the main event. But I agree with you. I actually like the main event a little better, personally. But Wato and Bailey, I thought that Bailey, to me, has been up and down by far the most consistent player in the tournament for great matches.
Yeah.
This is a point I've made a lot on the Patreon and even said it on the free show last time me and STRIGGA were here. A block is better than B block. That's pretty obvious when you look at the matches and even the ratings I'm going to get into. So he had a much better chance to have bigger matches than the B block guys, but he really delivered in all, forms and shapes and sizes. I said it before, Bailey, to me, when he came into the tournament, when he got announced, he's not really my favorite style of wrestler, his American work. I really wasn't a huge fan of his. I respected him. I liked his stuff in DDT as part of a tag team. And stylistically, though, he just really wasn't my guy. But in this tournament, I thought he had such a great run, so impressive, working so many different styles. I think he really was able to fit in with pretty much everybody in a very good block. Wato, he was kind of my guy in the tournament, not in terms of, match quality overall, until we get to the final we'll talk about, but he was a guy I definitely thought had a chance to win. So of the two, of the two matches, I thought they were both really good. This one was not that surprising, though, to me, to have Wato winning. I thought it kind of made sense because we go back to that Tokyo Dome show, the fans all rallied behind him to win the title. It didn't happen, but that was still there, and I was thinking about that going into the tournament, how they were going to go in. I kind of measured Yo and Wato against each other. They felt like they were in kind of similar positions. But Wato getting it wasn't that surprising to me, but it was a really good match.
Yeah, I thought in this match up until today was Master Wato's best singles performance. But then he outshined this match with today. So, yeah, this was great. This was a pretty great win for Wato. The moment of him winning is more than just him winning. And it helped him build momentum for him to go to the final. And making it even more believable that he could win today. I was a bit shocked that Speedball didn't win because I thought they were going for the first time Desperado versus Speedball final, and I wasn't that keen on seeing a rematch between Wato and Desperado, but again, that was me thinking about El Desperado winning the tournament.
Well, that wouldn't happen because in the main event, Desperado lost to Titan in a match which was also really strong. I thought Titan so much fire. These last two performances, we'll talk about the final, but I mean Titan really just like went on fire these last couple of days. I thought he did a fantastic job. This was a stunner. Like the first match was not that surprising to me, honestly, because Wato was one of the favorites.
Yeah.
Titan was somebody that I never thought would have dreamed would have made the finals going into the tournament.
This shocked me. This was very shocking.
And, he had a good tournament up to this point. He didn't have a bad tournament, but he really wasn't allowed to stand out. My point on him is kind of the same. Again, I'll repeat what I said before. All he needed was time, and he's one of the best guys, if not the best guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't get time a lot. In the A block round, he wasn't in the main events for the most part. He was in the undercard matches, having 7, 8, 9 minute matches for the most part. Nothing really able to strike that big chord, having that great matches. He's had a couple of ones that I really liked, don't get me wrong, but his issue has been time more than performance.
Yeah.
Desperado at B block was basically the guy at B block that was the glue. He was trying to get great matches out of as many people as possible. And here, I really thought he was going to win for sure. I would have lost a lot of money if I could have bet on this match because I would have thought for sure Desperado would make it. But in the end, no. Titan got the win again, tapping out a bunch of people. Even him making the semis was a shocker to me. I thought Hiromu would have done it instead of him, but instead they go with Titan and they give him the win again. And I thought Titan and Desperado had great chemistry too. I thought it was a really strong match between them.
Yeah, this is my fourth favorite match in this tournament. It is one of the best matches in the tournament. Titan jumping off the balcony in Yogi was so good.
Yeah.
The spot when Titan lands on his feet, when he does the diving foot stomp to the outside, I thought he was injured. It was such a scary spot.
Yeah, but I mean, he survived, and he was laying it all on the line here for that. But after that, you get the big LIJ pose afterwards, backing up Titan. A real vote of confidence in this tournament for Titan. After years of not being a part of the company officially, it seems like he won some people over. And set up the final, Titan versus Wato. Shocking final, to say the least. That led to the final show here, which we'll get into here. We didn't really watch any of the rest of the show, to be honest. They set up one major match. We'll talk about the matches announced for Dominion afterwards. But we were mainly focused on the final. That's the only match that really mattered, ultimately. But I will say this, though. They were in Oda City, and 3,300 fans came in to see this match, which was a pretty strong number.
Master Wato and Titan are confirmed better draws than Mina and Tam Nakano.
Well, yeah, double the amount of people nearly in the match. But
same building.
and I also think too that they probably sold a lot of the tickets even before this match became the final.
Yeah.
But even still, though, that would be funny because imagine if you're a fan in Japan, you're thinking, "Oh man, I'm this huge Desperado fan. I've been waiting for this for 3 years. He's gonna win the final. I'm buying my ticket. Put me in the front row." And then it's Wato and Titan in the final. You're thinking, crap. But you weren't thinking that after this match, though, because the match was phenomenal.
Yeah. It's absolutely fantastic match. But the thing about this is that this is the first time since 2018 that two people who have never been in the final is in the final. That is a crazy stat.
Well, it's always Hiromu and Desperado. Every year since then.
Yeah, it's fresh and it's new, and that's really cool.
And it's bold putting Titan in there. That's something nobody would expect going in there. And they said, look, we're going to give you the spotlight, and boy, did they deliver like with here. To kind of wrap up my feelings from the Patreon show, because it's the point I made then, and I think it leads perfectly to this match. I liked the tournament. Up to this point, I thought it was a strong tournament throughout the block rounds. But I said on there, they were really missing that one big match to hang, the tournament can hang its hat on. And they totally gave us that in this final overall. And this is the thing that was missing to put the cherry on top of this Sunday. And I just thought, man, what did you think of this match, Sondre?
I'll just say this right now. This is my New Japan match of the year so far. I thought this was better than Omega and Ospreay because I was more invested in this match than Omega and Ospreay. And that is thanks to Wato's great babyface performance and his just getting me to root for him, even though I would prefer if El Desperado was in the was in the final. Wato got me to believe in him and got me to root for him, and I thought that was just great. Titan worked so well in defeat. He had such a great performance. It was probably the best performance I've ever seen of him. Admittedly, I'm not that familiar with his work in CMLL. I've only seen him mainly in New Japan. But yeah, this is definitely Wato's biggest match so far in his career, which is very young, but awesome match.
I think that is a great point. I think that if there was one criticism for this match for me, it's not even a criticism really, it's that I thought that Titan definitely outshone Wato here, in my opinion, just performance.
Yeah, kind of.
I thought he was so amazing. Like, this was a phenomenal one-man performance. I think the Ospreay and Omega match, there was a lot of great stuff to that, but I think that they were both at a similar level, even though I said it at the time, Omega, some of that goofy stuff with the table and all of that kind of took me out of it just a teeny bit. That I'll never be a big fan of that stuff.
I just wasn't into the story. I am on the lone island with this. I am not a fan of the elite melodrama when it comes to that. So, and definitely not Ospreay.
Tune in to Wrestle Update tomorrow. We'll talk about elite melodrama, which you will be on as well. We will talk much more about that there. But in this match, I thought, like, for a one-man performance, Titan had one of the best of the year, and I thought really elevated this. I thought the crowd played a big role in this as well. This might have, you compare this to that match, for example. The crowd was more impactful in this match and hotter for this match than they were for the Dome.
Yeah,
they were like super heated. This was one of the hottest crowds of anybody, I would say, in Japan. It
felt like we were truly back. It was such a great crowd. Only in Corrigan has the crowd been this level of hyped since the restrictions were lifted. And we saw that a lot during this tournament when they were in Cork, and the crowd was way better than they were when they were like other places like small Iwate and all those smaller places. The crowd was very lacking of on the tours for this tournament. But in Corkin they were loud, and in this, the war today, they were crazy loud. And as you said, probably the loudest we've heard since the restrictions were lifted. Yep. It's at least the crowd helps get wrestling matches to that special level.
And especially for a player like Wato, this is what makes him special, is his crowd connection, more so than his actual wrestling. That was the thing he held his hat on, or hung his hat on, as a young lion. And what made him so special and such a great performer, you just have something special with a guy, and it resonates. And he has something that you can't teach. His wrestling has really improved over the last couple of years. I've been saying this for a while now. And he proved it here because he delivered. Teton was so explosive here, too, in this last two matches. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who was clearly hungry. All he needed was a chance. And this match basically proved it. Like, all he needed was chances. Because in CMLL, he was arguably the best luchador there in CMLL. He just never got really a chance to show it in New Japan, wrestling all of these shorter matches and being in a tag team with Bushi. That's not a path to having great matches over and over. But when you see him, when you give him chances, we saw in the last two of this tournament, he was so explosive. He had a rush of offense here, so much fire that he had. And Wato,
the foot stomp into the Indian deathlock was so awesome. That was such a good sequence. I remember that was like when I stood up from my chair and I was like, yeah!
Hey, I don't blame you. I mean, listen, Teton's got a great moveset as well. Very, mixed moveset. He's got a lot of things. He's got the big strikes, got the dives, got some submission game. He's really used that in. He's brought a lot into it. So I really like Teton's overall style of wrestling as well.
That Indian deathlock, Wato made sure to get us to believe that he might tap during, because they held that for such a long time and it was so good. And the crowd was like cheering on Wato to get to the ropes.
Yeah, they totally rallied behind Wato. Again, exactly what I said. That is his main source of success, is that charisma, that innate connection, and the ability to do stuff like that really worked out and was great. When it was his turn to go on offense, he didn't disappoint either. I thought he did a phenomenal job on the other end and definitely earned his spot here to win the tournament. Best of Super Junior 30 winner, Master Wato, with Tenzan as well. We can't forget about
Tenzan is there to support Wato no matter what.
Yes, exactly. Like a heartwarming story of this. Well, like I said, when he came in, he was like a joke character. Like Master Wato, like complete geek, no respect whatsoever. And now, and like I said, the fans, I think, had already taken to him by this point. Yeah. But I think if now at this point, any sort of doubters can safely be, disregarded. Wato, he is the man and deserves a spot, getting a title shot and winning the tournament. And as I said, to me, I was really looking at this tournament at a meta level as well. Never mind the matches, never mind the winner, never mind blah blah blah. To me, this tournament was ultimately the setup. Who was getting the torch from Hiromu? Because I said at the start, before the tournament, Hiromu had a world title shot, which definitely signifies that his days are numbered, and his days should be numbered. Like, in the division, he just doesn't, it's not the best use of him anymore. Like, he needs to leave. Like, and go to a heavyweight, And that's what I predicted in the tournament. I thought it would be Desperado to wrap up his story, but instead, they said, hey, Desperado's been here. He's been champion before. We saw what happened with him. Maybe they weren't satisfied. Maybe they were. I don't know. But regardless of all that, they said, screw that. We're going to do something completely new. And Suji's in the main event of Dominion, and we're going to have a new guy in the junior title match as well. And they will Wato. And I thought it totally worked out and is a, great decision.
And they went with the guy that the Tokyo Dome crowd at Wrestle Kingdom wanted to win the junior title. Because if you remember that four-way they had at Wrestle Kingdom this year, Wato was the most over guy in the match.
Yeah.
And like people bought into like every near fall he had and was like almost mad when he lost. So like that was the moment when I saw that Wato was ready for this. And then I still wanted it. Like I am Desperado is my guy in this junior division, so I kind of root for him to get that spot. But yeah, I'm okay with this. Titan looked great, and Master Wato looked great in getting this final moment. I hope he beats Hiromu. That would be a mistake. If he loses to Hiromu, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That wouldn't make a lot of sense to me at all. But
yeah.
you never know what's going to happen. To me, there's just like I said. I mean, Hiromu's had a great year. And a great title reign he's done. There's nothing wrong with anything he's done.
Yeah.
It's just he shouldn't be champion anymore. Like, no matter.
He just shouldn't be in this division anymore. Yes.
He should have left years ago. In all honesty, like he should have been a top star at a main eventer years ago. Unfortunately, they've wasted all of that for a long time now. It looks like they're finally going to get serious with him, which they should have done a long time ago. But regardless of that, though, like I said, this tournament to me, I felt in my heart, and maybe I'll be proven wrong. And a week from now, when Dominion happens, we'll look at it and we'll say, well, maybe not. But to me, in my heart, I thought this tournament was ultimately going to decide who the torch gets passed to. Again, I thought it was going to be Desperado. I said it all along. I was looking at Yo or Wato because the next month after the Dome, Yo had a title match versus Hiromu, and the crowd again rallied behind Yo, more than Hiromu. So I was wondering who they were going to pick. I think Wato was a good choice between the two. I've liked Yo's run ever since he started teaming with Lio Rush. I think that really brought out another side of him that he desperately needed, and it definitely improved as well, because I wasn't a big fan of his for a long time as a singles act, but I think he's definitely improved and done good things. But for me, I think actually, especially after this match, Wato's proven that he can deliver now twice in big matches. He didn't really have those chances in B-Block, again, because the level of competition wasn't largely there, and they weren't allowed to have these special big matches in smaller arenas like you were mentioning. The crowd wasn't nearly as rabid as they were here in Oda. But I think that, this is my prediction, but at Dominion, I'm thinking that crowd is going to lose it for Wato and totally rally behind him. Give him a big bump and a big push. And I definitely think he's going to win. Again, maybe we'll look back and I'll be wrong. Listen, this company has done some stuff that you wouldn't expect multiple times this year.
Yeah.
It's not like this is the first out of left field move they made. I mean, you go to the start of the year, who would have said Sonata versus Tsuji would be a world title match by June?
On Dominion.
Yeah, like
on
6 months.
Second biggest show of the year. Yeah.
Well, so not second minutes. Like the Wrestle Kingdom and the G1 final are bigger. But it's one of their.
Well,
biggest.
They don't have world title matches in the G1 final.
Yeah, but the G1 final is bigger than.
Yeah, but I'm talking with where they actually have title matches.
It's like one of their big four shows, I would say.
Yeah.
Some years it's King of Pro, not lately though. Well, even Dominion hasn't been super special lately, but we were at a weird time anyway with the pandemic, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But it's one of their major shows, to say the least. Right? This, Sakura Genesis, and King of Pro Wrestling are kind of like their big four, along with Wrestle Kingdom, when it comes to their like non-G1 final shows. But regardless, though, like Sonata being champion is something nobody would have expected. Tsuji getting a title shot right away, nobody could have predicted that. But here we are, and we're at this point. We're getting new things, fresh people getting pushed. New plans involved, people with new voices, taking control of some things and making things a lot better. I think a big thing was too, I think Jay leaving, freeing up that spot, it really opened up a lot of doors that maybe wouldn't have been there if he had stuck around. Like when you lose a main eventer like that when you open up the doors, that's when sometimes you get the most inspired booking, is when you're kind of, because like Gato leaned on him no matter what, whatever his lack of success or whatever, he kept leaning on him, and he would have continued in all likelihood. And now without him around, you see all these different avenues opening up, not dissimilar to when Nakamura left, and a lot of people thought it would be the terrible thing, but then they latched on and did a lot of different things, and a lot of people really liked it. I think now you see New Japan, that's a point that doesn't get really brought up a lot, but I think that's very important as well. When you have a free spot open and a main eventer leaves, that brings out the best of you as a booker, and a lot of people are involved more than usual, they have been in years past too, in the booking in New Japan, and that really helps, I think. And we're seeing it now, with what they're doing. So
this tournament, Hiromu Master Wato, sorry to cut you off, but Hiromu Master Wato is also a very fresh match for the junior title. They have never faced for the junior title versus each other, and the only times they have faced each other has been in the best of the Super Juniors, and both times Hiromu has won. So this is a very fresh single match.
Yeah. A lot of, like I said, it's not just one match. Like the whole company feels fresh right now.
It really does, and it's very refreshing.
Yeah, like you're not doing the same old, which is one of their biggest problems in the past years. A lot of the old guard have been moved down the card. Okada's still doing a great job, but in the six-man trios division. But other than that, you look at the scene right now, they're doing great things in both divisions, and it's leading to a pretty good show. There's been 3 matches announced for Dominion. We'll talk about that briefly before we wrap up the tournament. Obviously, Hiromu and Wato, it could be a fantastic match. We already talked about Sonata and Tsuji a lot. The Tsuji debut was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't do more to build it, to be honest.
They haven't had a single preview or anything.
Yeah, Tsuji hasn't wrestled on any of these shows at all. Like his first time wrestling is at that show, which is somewhat reminiscent of Kaito and Noah when he returned from Excursion, getting that main event slot right away, going in there. It kind of shows you they see something in Tsuji. The debut was amazing, 5-star debut, loved what he did, but I would have liked to have seen something more, but it's okay, you want to keep the suspense, I guess, and it's something completely different and new, and it's kind of a risky strategy, but we'll see if it pays off, and I think it will. I thought that debut was enough to get people hyped. New match, we'll see. And the other match that was announced on this final show was the 6-man titles, where you got Okada, Tanahashi, Ishii. They're taking on the team of Jon Moxley, Shota Umino, and Claudio Castagnoli from AEW. So you're getting the
Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, the BCC there. They did kind of a different version of this, but with Romero and Yuta in the place of Tanahashi and Claudio, respectively, on the New Japan Strong Resurgence show. Yeah, and it was really good. It was a really good match. And they set up a lot of great heat between Okada and Umino. Umino's a guy, I think he's really struggled since he's come back, to be honest. He hasn't really been able to capture anybody in a great way, especially compared to somebody like Narita, who's like such a great worker. They don't push him, but he's such a great worker that, you really rally behind somebody like that. And Tsuji had this just incredible charisma when he came out, beating up everybody. He looks like a beast. Umino didn't really have that.
You said it perfectly. I don't remember when you said it, but you said Ren Narita will be the guy that doesn't get pushed, but is the best one. Yeah. But Shota Umino will be pushed.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that has really come to pass already.
It has already come to pass. But we talked about that last year.
Yeah. Well, when they first came back, that's exactly what I thought. But maybe Tsuji will get pushed. I didn't predict him getting a title shot right away, so I'm so far right.
There is a 40% chance that Yota Tsuji ends the show as the IWGP World Champion.
Yeah, we talked about it last time. Me and STRIGGA, man, I was fired up over that. What more do you want from this dude? He looks great. He's a monster. We know he can work. Put him in there. Great look. He looks like a superstar, at least. Maybe this match will, I hope not. I'm really scared that something like that happens because Sonata's in the match, and I'm not his biggest fan as a wrestler. But I really want this to be a great match and like a tremendous performance, and everyone loves Tsuji, and a new star is born. I definitely think he could win the title. Like, I think that has a lot of upside to it overall, and that makes the show interesting as well. And the six-man titles is going to be great. I think like that's going to be such a great match. Okada and Umino, if you didn't see the Resurgence show, great chemistry. Like, that is Umino's best work by far. I thought he got better when he wrestled Zack Sabre Jr. in the tournament, especially. I didn't think their title match was as good as the tournament match, personally. But I thought he showed improvement, at least in the ring, that he hadn't shown for the previous few months. And now he's getting a shot at a big spot opposite Okada in a rivalry here, and surrounded by BCC, who is a great faction. And Claudio, so hyped to see in New Japan.
Yeah, I really hope this is a sign that Claudio might be in the G1. That would be awesome. I would be so happy for that. Maybe not. This could also set up maybe Ishii versus Claudio for Forbidden Door for the ROH World title.
Yeah.
That would be cool. That would be a very cool match to have on Forbidden Door because the international fan base love Ishii. Like, maybe more than the native Japanese fans too. So, Ishii for the AEW crowd is a very big draw, kind of. So him and Claudio could be a very, very money match to have on that card. And I also do think that this is a setup for Moxley and Okada, which I originally thought was going to be the IWGP World title match at Forbidden Door. But I could definitely see Okada and John Moxley having a singles match.
Yeah, I think that totally makes sense, honestly. Putting Okada and Moxley together would be a big match for there. I could see another tag because the thing is with Forbidden Door, you're already getting Ospreay and Omega. The rematch match. A lot of people love so much. That's going to be a huge draw. You're setting up multiple singles matches. I do think one of them is going to have to wait. I don't know which one it'll be, but I hope that it's not Claudio and Ishii because I really want to see that overall.
Maybe Okada and Tanahashi versus Moxley and Bryan, or
now that would be a match.
Cool. That would be very cool.
Yeah, now that is a main event level match. Man, sold. Right, great idea. Right there. Just give me everything. I love all these guys. So I'm all about all of this, and I can't wait to see where it goes. But even this Dominion match is going to be fire. Yeah,
on paper, this Dominion card, the top two matches are awesome. Like the never six-man titles are one of the most best-looking matches on the card. That is, if you told me that in like 2019, I would be shocked because it's the never six-man titles. Like, they never were treated like that.
Yeah,
and I'm so glad that New Japan finally is doing that because in Dragon Gate or in STARDOM, which we're going to talk about later, the six-man titles are always like really great matches. So now they're finally doing this in New Japan also, and I am happy about that because six-man wrestling rules. Like, trios wrestling is awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And with Okada getting the title, that automatically bumps these up. Like, you're not going to put Okada in something that isn't main event level, and they're proving that right now with this. For a big three, it's strong. There'll probably be a lot of meaningless undercard matches to fill up the card as well, get people going. I don't think they'll announce a G1 lineup at Dominion, but, it's possible. They do it a little earlier.
They have done that before.
Yeah, but Dominion is taking place a little earlier this month because of All Together taking place. So, and like I said, it's possible. I wouldn't expect it, but if it happens, it wouldn't be that shocking.
I had to check, and last year's Never Openweight six-man title match was House of Torture, Evil Show, and Yujiro Takahashi defeating Suzuki Gun and Desperado, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Zack Sabre Jr. So, a big step up, big upgrade this year.
Unfortunately, a tag title match because Aussie Open, Mark got injured and then they signed with AEW. It's going to be House of Torture again in a title match and tag title.
True.
So, I mean, you know, Evil and Yujiro are horrendous performers.
We can't escape them.
Yeah, exactly. But Bishamon is there. If anybody could save this, Yoshihashi had Evil's best matches in the G1 a couple of years ago. He seemed to be the only one that could crack the code of Evil, and we hope that they can do it again. It's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough, but if there is a team that can do it, it's them, and we'll see. And hopefully they win the titles and not House of Torture, because Bishamon can have a big match at Forbidden Door, and House of Torture, nobody wants to see that. Forbidden Door. Or ever, like anywhere, not just Forbidden Door. Like any, not even in Antarctica do you want to watch House of Torture. At least me. Maybe you do. But put me with the Penguins, baby. I ain't watching this crap. But regardless of that, though, the tournament. So much happened, you know, to wrap up the Best Super Juniors before we move on to Stardom.
Yeah.
You know, I put it out on Twitter. I put it on the page, the Eastern Lariat Twitter page at Eastern Lariat. I mean, how clever is that name? It's the name of the show, and we put it on the Twitter. We asked a lot of people. We got a lot of responses on there. Basically, I had 3 questions, and we're going to level it out here, and you have already answered. You were one of the members that answered it. Even though you were going to be on the show, you want your double opinion out here. You need to make double sure right now.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And I know who you picked now, so it's, regardless of that, who is your MVP, first of all?
El Desperado. Because of the Titan Desperado semifinal, Desperado got the nod over Speedball. Just an awesome performance throughout the tournament, making sure that everyone like him and Bobby Eagles made sure that B Block had great matches. The Akira match, which is like my second favorite match of the tournament. I'm struggling with the Titan match, of course, and just the Desperado and Bobby Eagles match. All just great matches, and Desperado worked throughout the tournament as he always does. Great. Just making sure that everyone makes time for his matches because they are the best on the cards. I might have an El Desperado bias because he's my guy, but
yeah, I think it was very rare he had the best match on any of the cards, but only because of again, this is my issue with this tournament. B Block was so much worse than A. It felt like nobody could. Him and Eagles deserve credit. I think Eagles was the best wrestler of B Block for the block play. Desperado did have the great match with Titan as well. I think those two deserve credit for bringing in, because like you, Eagles and Akira that was the match that stood out before the final. That was the second match to me, like the one match that really grabbed me throughout the tournament. But to me, A Block was just so much stronger. It's hard for me to really wrap my head around against that.
Yeah,
and that's why I think like Titan peaked the high. Like his one-man performances were so high in his last 2 matches.
Yeah,
so energetic, so exciting, so much fire. You know, even like compared to Desperado, who he was looking a little worn down by the end, to be honest. Multiple people I saw commenting that, and for good reason, because he worked so hard. But Titan had that explosion of energy because of all those short matches that he had that weren't really memorable for most of the time. And that's why I can't go with him, is because like a lot of the tournament was not that memorable for him. To me, Bailey was the best, like the MVP to me. Like he was the one that had the best matches most nights. He was the one that really showed and impressed me personally. Again, I know I was lower on him going into the tournament than a lot of people who are big fans of his. I wasn't that big of a fan of his, but he still impressed me, and I thought did a fantastic job against a multitude of opponents, whether it was Hiromu on the first night, whether it was Wato his last match. I thought he had Wato's best match at that point. He had a good match versus Kushida, TJP. You look up and down the card. Leo Rush, that was a top 5 match for me. Speedball and Rush on there. So, he's another guy that I thought was he to me was the most consistently great. I think if you had switched Desperado and Bailey, Desperado could have had he could have been that same level.
Yeah.
It's just he didn't have the surrounding talent to really get up there in terms of quality. And that's my only problem with the tournament, which we will get to in a little bit. The match of tournament to me was clearly the final. I thought that was by far the best match.
Clear.
Yeah.
As I said, my New Japan match of the year, and probably very high up on the rankings for me.
Yeah,
it's gonna stick with me a long time.
Eagles and Akira was a great match in its own right. That was the one match that I thought really stood out besides that, so I would give them a bonus credit, but the final was the best match. I mean, you look at some of these ratings here, we'll get to that a little bit, but what about the grade for the overall tournament? This is an interesting one here.
I went with an A-. I think I would have given it a straight A if it was a bit, I don't know, better put together, because the matches came so close to each other all the time.
Yeah.
The shows had 4 shows in a row and then a break day and then 3 shows more. And it felt so much at the same time. This tournament went on for 2 weeks. It was really quick. A lot of catching up, and when you also do work in the weekdays, it's kind of hard to catch up. But I did. I kept up with it throughout the tournament.
And I appreciate you for that, Sondre. We all do. All of the fans out there, the Eastern Lariat family. To me, this was. I think if this final had not been so spectacular, I probably would have gone a little bit lower, because I think that's what the tournament was missing, and then they gave it to me at the end.
Yeah.
Even if if that match was as good as the semifinals, I think I would have been lower, because those are good matches, but not special.
The thing is, there was a lot of great matches in this tournament. It was one of the best tournaments I've seen in a long time. It just was so close together.
Yeah. To me, I thought there was a lot of good and not a lot of great. To be honest.
Okay.
I think there's a couple of matches that really stand out. I could go 5 deep maybe that I would say were great. And then everything else was some of it was very good. Some of it was really, really strong. A lot of it was strong. There was not a lot of bad other than shit in the tournament.
Oh,
yeah. So to me, when you look at the tournament, because this had some fluctuating ratings, and a lot of people made similar points that I'm going to say, there just wasn't a lot that was that special in the tournament, even though there was a lot of good to it. And a lot of the stuff that what you said is absolutely true as well. The problem with it, too, is that it was so close together. It was one show after another, 10 matches each show, where, even if a match was really strong, a great match or whatever, it would kind of get blended in together with 9 other matches that weren't that special. There were some great matches. I would say each show probably had a match that you could point to outside of a couple of the smaller ones that you could say is up there as a great match. But in terms of something really special, I think you only had a really small amount. And to me, the final stood out head and shoulders, and they needed that.
The first night was so great. That is the final thing I want to say, is that the first night was so put together and as a show that it will probably end up being one of my favorite shows of the year, because it was just a good match after good match after good match, and then the great main event, and the good main event, the good matches on the undercard of Kushida and Doki, TJP and who was the TJP and Leo Rush, or Titan? Yeah, Titan the first night.
Yeah.
Leo Rush and TJP was in Corrigan a bit later.
Yeah, I think Leo Rush faced Show on the first night.
Yeah, true.
But it was a good show.
I would
give the tournament overall a B+. I think that I would have gone lower if the final hadn't have been as standout as it was, because I could see why there was nothing really wrong with the tournament. Like I said, there's really only one guy that was actively bad. In B block, even somebody like, we can we'll briefly go through the rundown here. And I did post the questions. I want to shout out some people with their answers. Ashutosh, big fan of his. Currently watching Naruto right now.
He got me to start rewatching Naruto. So.
Hey, we just talked when we recorded Dramatic Dream Dragons the other day. We were literally talking about this same thing. Right there. If any Naruto fans are out there, let us know what your favorite OP was, your opening, because that was a big debate me and Sondre had on the last episode. So we're all about Naruto right now on this show, and so is Ashutosh, and it's very fun watching him. Stuff that I saw a decade ago.
We both saw a decade ago.
yeah, exactly. We were still kids when we were watching it, but now we have different visions of it. We have a different vision, pretty much, of it. But his MVP was Gato, which I responded to and said it was the exact answer I expected from him. Match of the tournament was final, and the A+ grade here, he was psyched for this tournament. I love it. Peps, he's a mutual friend of ours. MVP Speedball, match of the tournament to final, and a grade B+. Hey, we have the same ratings, Peps, right now. Good stuff. Listen, hashtag Micah style right now. We're about to talk about her on the show.
Check out Peps' podcast, Pure Gems, because I've been on that, and I'm probably going to be on it again this year, so check it out on the 5 Star Network.
Absolutely. You got to shout out Puro Gems. Yonik's on there, too, our fellow dragon as well. So, good stuff there. Bender is great, which is an excellent username. Totally agree about Bender. His MVP, Speedball, match tournament to finals, A grade, good stuff there. Flosh, he messaged us, so good stuff here. Flosh showing up. He's a spiritual third member of the Eastern Lariat here, on every episode. His MVP was Speedball as well. Match tournament, Akira and Desperado. Good pick there, a little off the board. I like that. Grade B- to C+, a little bit lower, but he did expand upon it. He said, way too crammed to let some matches and participants breathe.
Yeah.
Little to no lowlights, a couple of great matches, but way too much okay stuff that blends into each other. So we're kind of the same, but I thought that final was so good, man. I had to bump it up to that B+ level.
Yeah.
Gotch Style Smallo, he messaged us. Desperado was his MVP too, so you got some Desperado love, Sondre. Speedball and Rush was his favorite match. That was up there to me. That was a top 5 match, in my opinion. And a B+ grade as well. Good stuff. I love Konosuke Takeshita, another brilliant username. Speedball was his MVP. Despy and Akira, another Desperado and Akira match. Maybe we underrated that a little on there. I might have to look.
No, it's my second favorite match in the tournament.
That was a great match too.
Yeah.
Oh. Like that was the second favorite. Yeah, you're a good point on there. And Eagles and Akira was another good one, but Despy and Akira, that was the best. That was the second best match of the tournament, I would say. Like that really stood out. Yeah. I think I said Eagles and Akira earlier, but I meant Despy and Akira.
Despy and Akira.
Yeah. A grade, it was very fun. Totally agree. Then we had you reply, which you just literally said your awards on there. Markeem Graham, he responded, Speedball. Man, it's Speedball getting a lot of love for MVP. The final, good lord, the final. Baby, I had a religious experience too right now on this final match. It was so good. Wato was having me vibing in there. B or B+ grade overall. Same deal. A lot of good, not a whole lot of spectacular, minus a few matches. Basically, totally agree with that, Markeem. Dr. Jonathan showing up. Watching New Japan. Where are you at, man? He what happened to our Just 5 ties? Love, Doctor, on this. But MVP, Speedball, best match, finals, and A grade. Good stuff there. Love seeing the positivity for New Japan right there.
Yeah.
Love seeing that. The Novelist, Speedball, MVP, best match, Titan and Wato, an A+ grade. Shout out to him. He's releasing music right now. So check out his stuff on Twitter, The Novelist. Burb Guy, Doki MVP, which is my kind of take that I want to see. And he was so consistent throughout the tournament. I really liked him. Him and Kushida, that to me, we talked about on the Patreon, that to me was a top 5 match, like underrated, I think, by a lot of people.
I have met Burb Guy before, and yeah, he is a pretty big Doki fan. I met him at Royal Quest last year.
Hey, shout out Burp Guy right now. Hopefully you guys had a good attendance. Y'all didn't get into a fight or anything, did you?
No, We bonded over our Doki love.
Good. That's what we all need. That's what this world needs more of, is Doki love to unite us. Despy and Yo was his favorite match of the tournament. That's a good take there. B-, a lot of matches didn't get enough time. See, that was one of my big problems, too. And I say, like, if T-Todd had all of the time that some of these other guys had, he would have shown out huge. But that's not realistic, though, as well. You do have to have some matches shorter. But I do expect...
Despy and Yo was also a really good match. That was probably Yo's best match this tournament.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Harry, he messaged us, MVP Speedball again. I think he's the undisputed winner of the poll here on the round. Match of the tournament, Eagles versus Despy. That was a really good match, too. It went a little under the radar because I think, remember, Despy and Akira got a lot of the headlines afterwards. But it's a very similar style match that was really quality.
Yeah, Eagles and Desperado was great.
Yeah, and a B grade overall. So a lot of opinions, a lot of good ones. Really appreciate all the people who responded. We're doing it earlier, afterwards, so that's good stuff. The inmates rated a lot of matches. We saw a lot of good activity and all of that stuff, so that's good. Briefly, before we get to Stardom, we will just quickly go over each tournament. We have just a quick blurb about each person to let the people know. We kind of did a similar thing on the Patreon, but we'll shorten it up for the main show here. Yeah. We'll just go through the standings, so to speak, here. So, in A block, the bottom of the tournament was Taguchi. What did you think of his tournament?
Better than I expected.
I totally agree with that. He's a guy that, you come in, you have low expectations for, obviously. But his tournament was good. They told a good story. He lost every match until the end. I think that he's a guy that maybe people took a little time to warm up on because they were negative on him coming in, including myself. But once I got there and started to see how he was working, I thought it showed, hey, this could be a thing, and this could be his farewell to the tournament as well.
It felt like a final performance in the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. But I really liked his work. He did a good job. Kushida, only 4 points, which is shocking. I would say, like a weird booking. What's going on with that? I don't know. He's a I get it, because some people are speculating, hey, are they punishing him because he went to WWE? The problem with that theory is he's a champion. They made him a champion right before the tournament. So they no love to the. I mean, if anything, this tournament definitely solidified the junior tag titles as not very important, if anything, unfortunately. But he was great. Performance-wise, though.
Performance-wise, Kushida is back. Fully back. He's not on the booking-wise, even though he's the champion, but on the singles booking, he's not back yet. But he will probably... I don't see him winning the tournament ever again. So... Because much like Hiromu, he has outgrown the junior division. I even said last year when he came back that he shouldn't have returned in the junior division. But it was great to see him back in the Super Juniors. And having him back was just fun.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy, star power is about 0. His wrestling is more like 10. Where do we find a good middle ground for this right now? But very surprised by this. Even for him, I thought he would do a lot better. But his wrestling was good. Doki, we talked about as always. We all love him very much. And he is a treasure. Very
Could have had more points.
Yeah, well, definitely more than Sho, at least. If there was any justice in this world, he wouldn't be behind Sho. But just a great wrestler, man. So versatile as well. Can do the lucha style. Can do some mat work. Do some flying. Unique moveset. Really like Doki.
Yeah.
Sho, he sucked. Was by far the worst person in either block, I would say.
I miss Sho. The good Sho.
Time to retire. That's my advice. Time to retire.
I think it's time for you to go to another company. A company that appreciates a hot boy.
No, he needs to retire. I think I don't want to see any more of this at all. No matter how hot of a boy he may be, that does not justify this has the torture stuff out there. But yeah, if he could go back to his normal gimmick, he'd be great again. I think I said this on either Patreon or maybe it was in the last free show. whenever they decide to flip the switch and get him out of this, it'll all be forgotten very quickly. Like I don't think this will last in anyone's mind. If he just
if New Japan is so stuck on him being House of Torture, maybe he should go to another company.
That's not gonna happen. He doesn't get paid enough at other companies, unfortunately. He may be doing some horrific work, but he doesn't. That's a good thing about this, though. In all honesty, if you think like a wrestler, this basically guarantees him a spot for life. Like this gimmick, because they always love their heels. So, if you just want to look at it as a job, I'm here to get paid. I don't care about titles or having good matches. This is a great way to solidify a long career. And it's not like he's breaking his back either, like having great, he's having pretty short nonsense matches. He's not going, putting himself through the Hiromu grinder of matches that he has. Ishimori, tragic injury, very scary situation there. Big shout out to Ishimori. Really hope you get well soon.
It was a good tournament for him up until the injury, though. He was actually trying a lot. So, and when Ishimori is invested, he put some bangers. He put on some really good matches in this tournament before he got injured.
And it was against Hiromu, which could have been a match, that could have been one of those special matches, I think.
The match as it was going on was getting better and better, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it was leading up to that, but they couldn't get it. But shout out Ishimori, please get well soon, brother.
Yeah.
TJP, great tournament, I thought. Very, very consistent. Works well with anybody again, a master of so many styles. He to me is like the perfect tournament wrestler. Because he could beat anybody, lose to anybody, wrestle everybody's style, and be great at making everybody else look as good as him. I really thought he had a strong performance.
Yeah, TJP is probably the best guy to put people over, and he kept doing that throughout the whole tournament. So awesome run for him.
And he got wins, too. He got respect. 10 points, that's more than Akira got, even in a weaker block. Pretty well deserved, I would say. Hiromu, fantastic performer. I thought it was shocking he didn't make the semis, at least. Yeah. But just like I said, he's really outgrown this division to the point where, I could see why they wanted to go to a new, fresher direction, so to speak. But his tournament-wise, I thought, the first half of the tournament, he was the MVP. He had some of the best matches each and every night, the first 3, 4, 5 nights. Still closed off on a good part. He was an MVP candidate for sure and had a great tournament, just like the rest of his year has been fantastic.
Yeah. Hiromu is my New Japan rest of the year so far this year. And he kept that going. Yeah, he has had the most opportunities, to be fair. So, yeah. Definitely.
Leo Rush, great performance in the tournament as well. He continues to be a complete standout and a great pickup they've had. He's really just been known as performing great up and down the cards, doing great matches, getting some big wins. He was up there till the final night. They picked Speedball over him. But Rush, totally on that same level. If they had picked him to go on, I would have had no problem with it. And I think he could have had just as good of a match against Wato. Really liked this tournament.
I do think that if Leo Rush sticks with New Japan for this, if he keeps showing up, if he keeps in the junior division, he could win a Best of the Super Juniors in the future. And he proved that in this tournament, that he totally belongs here. And he got over. The crowd was hot with him throughout the tournament. So...
Yeah, deserving so. Super charismatic guy. Him versus Hiromu in March, he was very over with, too. He totally should be a champion to look at in the future. Going in there. Really big fan. Speedball, we talked about him. A lot of people thought he was the MVP. It was a great tournament, I would say.
Yeah. And, of course, we said on the Patreon that we thought he went to the semifinals because... and maybe to the final before we, of course, previewed the semifinals. But him going to the semifinals over Leo Rush is probably because they knew that they probably won't have him next year.
Yeah.
So they wanted to just put him all the way to the semifinals. And he could have gone all the way to the finals also. But yeah, Speedball throughout the tournament, everyone's MVP, and yeah, definitely deserves that.
Titan, just like I said, his matches weren't that memorable because he was constantly in the undercards, but when they gave him chances, I mean, you saw what he could do in the final.
Yeah, and then the Everton Series Roman match when he secured his semifinal, and then the semifinal, and then the final, just awesome.
Yeah, I hope next year with this run he's earned more respect where he could be in main events next year constantly, because he'll be the MVP if they do that for him in my opinion. So good stuff there. B block Bushi. I mean, if you want a wrestler who is Bushi, you cannot be more Bushi than Bushi was in this tournament.
He existed.
He definitely wrestled a lot of matches. There was a ring, there were ropes. The bell rang in each and every one of his matches. And look at that mask he has.
Yeah.
Kanemaru, pretty fun little tournament there. Not anything super standout match-wise, other than the Desperado match at the start. I think they had, because of their history they played off of. But for, a leg guy, I thought he had a pretty solid run.
Yeah, pretty solid.
Kevin Knight, a guy that I really had high expectations for, was not able to meet those. But we do have to remember he's still very young, despite being a champion going in there. But hey, he had more points than Kushida, his partner, which I don't think anybody would have predicted getting into the tournament. But yeah, he was all right. But again, another one of these guys constantly kind of the opening matches, like 1, 2, 3, not really getting a chance to stand out. But a good worker. I think he's a fantastic talent. Just the tournament didn't show it.
The thing was that he was one of the 3 projects in B block. There were 3 new unproven people in B block that were put in B block to be a trial if they were basically 3 first time wrestlers that hadn't aren't that used to this yet. Of course, the other 2 I'm talking about are coming up also.
Yeah, one of them was definitely Maloney.
Yeah.
I really didn't think much of him at the start. Nothing I didn't come in thinking, oh my god, this guy sucks. I just thought, well, this guy's kind of boring and not that great, kind of average. I thought he picked up some momentum, and by the end he was getting better, and it showed that. And I think that that's a good sign for him. He showed enough to get another chance, which I think is the best so far. He wasn't a standout player by any means, but I thought he showed enough to get another chance. Yeah,
exactly. He got more comfortable as the tournament went on. And in the final nights, he had some pretty good matches, like the Desperado match and the Akira match. The Desperado match and the Robbie Eagles match.
Yeah. That was good. Maloney showed some good stuff there. He kind of did better than I expected, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. Akira, you just mentioned him. The match versus Desperado was an amazing match, and the match versus the Eagles was also very strong. I thought of everybody. That was the match that really took the tournament to a new level, him versus Desperado. But there was also, again, unfortunately, a lot of the matches against the not great guys were not that good.
This tournament, he proved that he in the future can take the Ospreay spot that they kind of want him to take in the G situation. Because that was kind of the thing when he was brought in, that it seemed like they were going to push him like they pushed Ospreay. And, of course, this tournament, he finally proved that he can do that. But of course, he is also 23 years old, so he has a lot of room of growth to do. But he could be ready to win it in 2 years' time. And with the Desperado match especially, he proved that.
I don't know. I already thought he was kind of great heading into the tournament, to be honest with you. I think the Catch-22 team, he really... If I had any doubts about him, they were proven in that run.
But the Desperado match kind of proved that he was a great singles wrestler also. Like,
yeah, that was his singles, and I mean, I've always been a fan of his, even in All Japan. I've been watching this guy forever. Think he's a great pick, and definitely that Desperado match was like a next level from what we've seen from him before. And definitely something you want to hang your hat on. But a good tournament for him. He was probably up there. I'd probably put him in B block. To me, it was either him or Eagles would be the second best guy besides Desperado.
Yeah.
But he was up there with, like, there was a gap between him and whoever was next, like Wato, like, as the fourth. Like, I think there was a gap in terms of whole tournaments.
Yeah.
Wato obviously had the big match at the end, but in terms of block play, I think Desperado, Eagles, and Akira were at a different level than
I agree.
the others. Connors, I did not like this tournament, to be honest.
Yeah, another project like Kevin Knight and Dan Maloney. Three unproven, like, not yet grown into characters in this block really held this block down. And I thought Clark was the weakest of them.
He was there last year, doing the Hunter.
Yeah, but this is the new character.
Yeah, and he still is not any better than he was last year as a wrestler, unfortunately. Like, is where he's really struggling to find his place. I've said it before, him being the dominant heel does not play to his strengths. Yeah. He is much better as an underdog face, to which he showed a lot of potential as a young guy, and they've gone away from that to be the Power Junior, which just doesn't fit his style and skill set at all.
Yeah.
The gimmick's fine. I really don't think the character is bad or really anything innovative by any stretch of the imagination. It would work if he wrestled better, which, that's really where the problem is, I would say. The B block was not the place to have great matches for the most part. You mentioned three guys. You throw in Bushi and Kanemaru, who are, like, not going to have great matches. And even like Yo and Wato weren't lighting the tournament up for the most part, like until they got around other great wrestlers. So you look at that, I mean, you're looking at pretty much 7 of the 10 that probably are not going to give you a great match on your own in B block. But still, though, I agree with you. Connors, of the 3 guys you mentioned, he was the worst one to me. I think he showed less than Maloney. And Knight, I still respect his talent a lot on there, but we'll see what happens with him. I don't have super high hopes. Eagles, I said it before, he was probably the most consistent wrestler to me in the block.
Oh, yeah.
Just so mega talented.
Yeah. Him and Desperado, 2 of my favorites.
And he kind of felt like the TJP of this block as well, that he could beat anybody, lose to anybody, wrestled everybody's style, and made everybody else look better to the best of his abilities. So I thought that he did a great job. Yo, his tournament was okay. He honestly didn't stand out that much to me, other than, it's kind of a bad sign because I was eyeing him. Like, he was somebody I spotlighted that I wanted to see what he could do. And hey, when he was with Desperado, he had a great match. When he was with the Eagles, he was pretty good. Everything else wasn't as great as it could have been.
Yeah. I agree.
Desperado, he was your MVP, and he got some love. Like, Bailey got like 99%, and of course Birdman's Doki vote as well. We can't forget. But Desperado was the only one otherwise to get an MVP vote, and he was probably, like I said, the glue that held the block together, pretty much.
Yeah, that is my point exactly, and the Titan match was so special to me that
I think, unfortunately, like, it's gonna be forgotten quickly because of the final match. Like, that, like, so much better. Like, it's like, well, this, like, overshadowed it so much. But it was a good match, though, a worthy main event, I thought, for sure. I'm surprised so many people like the other match better of the similar.
And the Akira match is also, like, again, so special.
Yeah, that was one of the best matches of the tournament, for sure. Like, top 3 match at worst.
Yeah.
And Wato, I mean, he won the tournament.
Wato, for most of the tournament, wasn't that standout. But then in the match with people, and the final just sold it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you just take those two matches, he looked amazing. When he was wrestling lesser wrestlers, he wasn't, like, at the level of the top wrestlers that you would see.
He didn't, throughout the tournament, he didn't seem like he didn't seem like the tournament story. It's more the kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point overall, but that's it for the Best of Super Juniors. You know, we really liked it. We liked the tournament. Loved the final. Was just amazing. And Dominion's right around the corner. Forbidden Doors next month. All together again is coming up on the 9th. So a lot of good stuff going on in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, with that said, let's move to the second part of the show, which is going to talk about the company that ran Ota Ward right before the Super Junior final.
The day before.
That's right. World Wonder Ring Stardom. And they had a big show, Flashing Champions. It took place just yesterday as we record. And the big point of the show, we kind of talked about it before the show had again. It was basically set up as a one-match show. Like the main event, white belt versus red belt. Kind of like the Intercontinental versus the World Champion. A double title match between two new champions. You were on here last month talking about Yokohama. Mina and Tom Nakano both won their titles 1 month prior, and they would face off here. The rest of the card, I mean, you had 3 title matches on the card, but just none of them were really meant to be built up as anything. And it has been a lot of controversy lately where they just haven't been uploading their shows. So any kind of build up we could have had seen, it's not possible with how they've uploaded it. It's a really, really big problem. They did a terrible job of the upload schedule of World. I don't know what they were thinking after their big show at Yokohama last month. It should have been A+ strategy. Like, whatever else you have going on, that should have been at the top tier of importance, was putting stuff on there and making people flock to there, because that show got so much good buzz among people who maybe aren't even Stardom fans. Maybe they saw it because Mercedes was there in a big match.
Or because it was the Yokohama Arena.
So some people probably thought that as well, but you should have had everything set up to where, hey, if you want to see more of this, go to Stardom World, and we're going to have everything you need there. Instead, they've totally ghosted us as fans. You cannot ghost us. I will not put up with that. That's a heartbreaking experience, and I'm not very happy that Stardom put us through that. But nevertheless, we did come to this show, and we will run it down. We'll go through the undercard quickly and get to the main matches, to be honest with you. Did you see this whole show, Sondre?
Yes.
What do you think of the opener? Rebel Enemy versus Sakura and Shuri. Shuri, the curtain jerker on this show.
It went a bit long.
Yeah, almost 10 minutes.
Yeah, but it was fine. But Michael Osaki, if Stardom had a never openweight title, sort of like title, I would be advocating for Michael Osaki to be challenging for it on like a show coming up. But they don't have any mid-card titles in Stardom that fits that style. So that, unfortunately, they can't have that. But I thought Michael Osaki looked good. That's the only thing from this match I remember.
Are you any more warmed up to Ram?
Ram is Ram. Ram Kaijo is Ram Kaijo. She is always what she's been.
That's true. Like, a gimmick. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Ozaki, big fan of her. I loved her in Ice Ribbon. I think that you could do a lot with her. Just, coming in as kind of that outsider person, it's tough right now. And who knows what they're doing in general. Like, it's tough for everyone in this company at the moment, it feels like, with a lot of what they're doing. Shuri in the opener, that sucks because she had such a spotlighted spot last month.
The reason Shuri is in the opener is because her faction mates, Amito Ray and Mirai, was in the tag title match. so she didn't have anyone to tag with on the show, and they didn't want to put her in a singles match on the show.
Well, that was their poor decision making. Yeah, that is a mistake. Yeah, that was their poor decision making to do that. And Shuri should not be the opener under any circumstances, especially after she literally was in a spotlight match at your biggest show last year.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a very poor decision. One of many poor decisions.
And teaming with a rookie.
You know, it's fine. Sakura, you know, she's all right. You know, for a rookie, still very young in her career. I don't really have any strong thoughts on her.
1 month into her career.
Yeah, Hanako showed me more of the two.
Yeah.
But more on her in a second. Next match, you had Hina, Saya, Kamatani, and Utami Hayashishita. They beat the Wato Tai team of Rina Ruwaka, Starlight Kid.
Let's go. Okay.
Let's go.
I have takes on this. Saya Kamatani and Utami is my like Stardom story right now, so I need to talk about this. So for you guys, if you haven't been following Stardom ever since the Yokohama Arena show, Utami and Saya Kamatani have kind of been beefing lately. And that's because after Saya Kamatani lost the Wonder of Stardom title, she started tagging again, of course going to, and on the last pay-per-view, which was headlined by Mina Shirakawa versus Natsupoi. We didn't review it, but on that show, Aphrodite, Saya Kamatani, and Utami Hayashishita lost a match, and after the match, Saya was kind of complaining that Queen's Quest was losing a lot lately. And Utami kind of took that to heart and said, well, are you saying that's because of me? And it was kind of like, are you really implying that I am the weak link here? I am the leader. Why are you talking bad about your leader? And this story has kept going on the house shows. We haven't seen them, unfortunately, because Stardom World is really slow lately, because just upload the matches, please. But they have been like having miscommunication spots after each other, and that led into this match where they also had a miscommunication when Saya Kamatani drop kicked Utami, and they started like fighting. And this all will lead to something. I have such a feeling that this is leading to something.
Well, they keep teasing it. I mean, great storytelling, winning 3 straight matches in your, your dissension loser storyline here, which they've done lately. Yeah, I mean, this is a second match on the card feud, and that's what it felt like in this match. I don't think there is anything special.
Well, it's main event in Nagoya in June.
Wow.
This feud is main eventing Nagoya.
Great. Like I said, really looking forward to that. You know, I'm not nearly as hot on any of this as you are. It's a very traditional pro wrestling story. To be honest, it's something we've seen so many times over the years, and I don't know. I mean, this seems like something that would happen on WWE. You know, I'm not into it overall. Hopefully they do something. Maybe it's just nothing Tosaya does really gets my blood pumping. I think overall, but if what this leads to is Utami getting a main event push again, I'll be happy. But I don't have confidence in anything right now in this company, so we'll have to see where it goes at the end. And hopefully they can have a big match. The next match is the Stars team of Hanan, Hazuki, Koguma, Mayu Iwatani. They took on Club Venus, Jessie, Mariah May, Waka, Tsukiyama, and Xena. I totally love Koguma and Mariah May's feud. Totally entertaining, in my opinion. And I think this is the kind of stuff I would wish that DDT would do more. It's such a heartfelt, like, goofy comedy feud that I can't help but warm up to it. And I thought it was a lot of fun here.
No sexy, only cute Kuma.
Yes, no sexy.
Mariah May challenged by Utami during the match for the IWGP Women's title. It was very, very charming because she like screamed at Mayu, I want the IWGP. And people in my Discord immediately said like, oh, she wants to challenge Sonata? Step away, Yota Tsuji. But yeah, I think Mariah May and Mayu Utami could be a great like shot for Mariah May to prove herself. And as a match, it should be like fun. The standout player in this match, though, was Hanlan. And she got injured for it, because she got injured during this match.
Oh, that's true.
And that was really sad, because she had such a great performance in the closing stretch of this match.
Yeah, she'll be missed. We'll talk about the 5-star, because the participants got announced. But, talented wrestler for sure. I like Mariah May. I thought she's done a lot better than I thought she would overall. I think her and Mayu will have a good match. Still, I think my heart is with this Koguma deal, but if you want to put her as a one-off title defense for Mayu, I'm fine with that. The rest don't do a lot for me. Honestly,
oh yeah, the rest of Club Venus is lame. But
but Mariah's done a good job. Next match, I mentioned her earlier, Hanako, getting a spotlight match here, teaming with 7-Up, Nanai Takahashi, and Yuna Mizumori. They took on Suzu Suzuki, Mei Seira, and Maika. So
what a vibe that trio was. Maika and Suzu were really so, it was cool. Maika and Suzu who were really stoic in their entrance, and then in the middle of them, this little bubbly girl with a lot of balloons. A great
She's also an amazing wrestler as well.
Yeah, this was the best match on the show up until this point. This was when this show got really fun to watch.
This to me was the second best match on the whole show. I thought it was really strong. I absolutely loved the chemistry between Mei Seira, Suzu, and all of the other opponents. Hanako, what a great spot to put a new person in against all of these super professional talents. Nanai is just a great performer to me. It's a shame that they don't have the titles anymore, because I think that they would really have a lot of bangers on there. I think that Suzu and Maika, this little alliance they're having,
I think Yu might be done with Stardom.
And what a shame if that's the case. You, amazing performer. We will miss you so much if she is indeed done. Mizumori's good, and I thought she performed pretty well in this match, to be honest. But you cannot be replaced by any mortal woman. We need more of you in our lives, and we will see her all over the place as she wrestles in many different companies. But in Stardom, she just had that extra beast feel. And I love to see her against Mei Seira in a match. I love what they're doing. But this team, Suzu and Maika, coming together lately, and they're teaming them more along with Mei. This could be the start of maybe a shakeup, a new faction of some sort. Give it to me. Give me this fact. These are my favorites right here. You're putting them in there. I love these people, and I thought they wrestled a hell of a match here. I thought it was really strong. Then we got to the first title match. So now we're getting to the back end of the card, the title matches. Saki Kashima beating Azumi and Fukigen Death. We kind of talked about this off the air the other day, where just straight up, I think this sucks. But if it leads to something else better, I can forgive it. I'm willing to give this a chance to play out, because I just don't like the idea of Azumi's great title reign. She should have passed the torch to Mei Seira, to me.
Yeah. I agree with this.
not Saki beats Fukigen and Azumi doesn't even lose her, doesn't even get pinned to lose her title. That to me is all wrong. I just do not approve of this in any way.
I thought for the match itself, it was a 5-minute match.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a lot in it, but as the match just went along, it was just a really fun match to watch. It was high speed action. It was those flash fins were awesome.
That's basically the match itself. They started off for a minute or two. They did something that Azumi botched a move, and they just went to doing flash fins over and over for the rest of the match, which was a lot of fun.
This also, first of all, I'm happy for Saki Kashima. Saki Kashima has never held a single title before, and now she gets one. But this is a bigger point, ends the almost 3-year-long run of Queen's Quest having at least one title to their name.
They're no longer queens. I think they need to change their name to, the Princess Patrol. No,
I think it's a sign. I think it's a sign of something to come later this summer.
I didn't like any of this. Like the match was fun to watch, and it's great for Saki to get the title. Like I'm not against it, like I said, but on this roster, I just think there's so many better options that you could go with.
Yeah, on this roster, the only two singles champions that are holding Stardom titles, not a New Japan title. The only singles champions after this show is Saki Kashima and Tam Nakano. And the future title, but the future title has like the restrictions on it, so that doesn't count.
Time for titles versus title match up next. Saki Kashima versus Tam Nakano. Triple Crown.
Tam Nakano has never won the high-speed title, so...
Exactly, so that could be a thing we're looking for in the future. But to me, the good thing is, though, I'm actually happy Azumi lost the title, because I forget the other two, like Saya and Utami. Azumi should be the featured player in Queen's Quest. To me, like, give her a main event push. That's what we needed.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't think Queen's Quest is going to be around in a couple of months.
Well, that's fine, but Azumi's better than the other two, so push her over the other two. Like whatever faction, you can call them whatever you like.
I would always advocate for Utami to be pushed, but I wouldn't be mad about Azumi either, because Azumi has never challenged for the Wato for the Wonder or World, and that would be like really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Utami's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of Talsaya, but I do like Utami a lot. But she's just been nothing for so long that I'd rather Azumi get it as a natural progression going in there. But I still think, regardless, that she should have passed the torch to somebody else. And
yeah, I agree.
My only hope is that it means they want to protect her because they have a big plan for her in the near future.
Hopefully.
You look at the tournament and you hope that she is somebody they could look at. But again, in this company, I don't really have a lot of faith in anything at the moment. Got to the Stardom title match. I thought this match totally sucked. Like I said, I hated this.
Really? I thought this was great.
Awful performer. Like I thought she was so bad. Momo seems so checked out too. It's like sad to watch for me. Momo reminds me of like Kenta in New Japan right now. Like somebody stuck in this gimmick. And the thing is, Kenta is so broken down that he can't do his matches. Momo, you have to be better than this. Like, that's what, every time I watch her, I think that, like, you have to be better than this. Her and Mirai didn't have any standout segments in this match, which is insane. Like, when you think of the talent level, who laid out this match is what I want to know. It's like you had all of this garbage crap in here, and the brawling was terrible. What was there to like about this?
I thought it was solid. I don't know. It served its purpose. That's the only thing I have to say about it. It made us think they had near falls where we thought the titles might switch, and but they didn't. And I would say that Mirai and Ami looked pretty good here, and they kept that story going. I don't know. My biggest problem with this match was the aftermath, where Mirai and Ami just faded into the background. Did you notice that?
Well, yeah, that is true. As well. I was so annoyed by this match. I thought it was awful. Like, I did not enjoy this at all. I think in general, too, Oedo Tai, I knew, when you see the names, I've totally given up hope for Oedo Tai Momo at this point, and not because I've always been terrible, but Mirai and Ami, I don't think are a good tag team. I like them better as singles wrestlers, to be honest. I just, something about this team is not clicking. I didn't like their match last month against 7-Up either, although the finish was a big part of that, obviously. I'm not into this run at all, to be honest. And the other team is just unsavably bad, in my opinion. So, like, there was nothing good. The brawling was so lame here. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't recall that much from it to defend it, but I thought it was fine for what it was on the show. I didn't really have any strong feelings on it. I thought it was just a fun match.
Man, wasting Mirai right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Mirai should have been in the Wonder title match on the show.
Well, that's not impossible because it was a title versus title match. We will get to that in a little bit after the main event. But thankfully, this is another point that I'm going to get to that was terrible. Thankfully, Restart came out to save the show, because I thought it was a pretty bad show. Up to this point.
The post-match angle of this was Queen's Quest while in an infighting storyline.
Oh yeah.
Came out and challenged Wato to a unit disband cage match.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And it's been confirmed that is happening. It is happening in Nagoya. The venue that Dragon Gate always have cage matches in for Dead or Alive.
Yep.
Should be noted. So that is going to be on the 25th of June, I think.
Okay.
And it's also going to have on the same show. There's going to be another cage match, which I'm going to be talking about with the artist title match after.
Yeah. So like I said, I was really not hot on this show at all up to this point.
Yeah.
Like I said, Restart comes out to save the show, and they had I thought this was an excellent match. To me.
Fantastic trio title match.
Yeah, this was the best match on the show, like easily, in my opinion. I thought it's a shame because, and we didn't mention it at the start. There were 1,759 fans here, which is half of New Japan and less than they did last year for Risa Sera main eventing. So, take from that what you will. For this biggest match in history.
Flashing champions in Osa Ward last year.
Yes.
Okay.
And it did 1,800 fans over them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did more last year than this year. So, yeah. That was not good at all. Especially for...
no, it's good for last year. And it fits last year's attendance for Stardom.
Yeah.
Stardom attendance has been down all around, except in Yokohama Arena. So it fits actually with this year's.
Yes, this low attendance fits with their normal thing. But you think for the main event being what it was, should have been a major match.
Yeah, but the main event had no build, so why
that's true.
Should this have a bigger draw?
I guess so. Maybe you're not wrong, but that's an issue in and of itself, I would argue.
Yeah, I agree. This was a problem before the show happened.
Yeah. But, the semi-main event, though, man, what a great match.
Fantastic match, which where they featured a lot of, first-time... So this was the first time we saw Julia and Anu square up in Stardom. They have faced before in Access Girls. But this was especially cool because it was the first time we saw Julia and Kairi face each other in Stardom. And they had crazy, snap your fingers, good chemistry. Instantly. It was awesome.
I don't know if this is a popular take, but to me, Kairi is the best wrestler in Stardom. I think ever since she's come back, ever since she's come back, she's been on point in every match. She had the best Mercedes match since that she did in America. Outshines everybody, and then unfortunately, this is the problem. This was this great match that I love so much. Julia was amazing in it. Had great chemistry with everybody. And you knew already with Natsupoi, the other two, you wanted to see them, and you got what you wanted because they were awesome. All three pairings were amazing. Tekla looked really good, too, and Sakurai is at a great spot hidden in these six tags.
That Tekla and Kairi spot on the top rope was so good.
Like I said, Kairi, I'm convinced could have great matches with literally anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the team, but I was so irritated. This, to me, was the worst booking decision on the show, even compared to the main event. I do not understand at all why they I know everyone goes to the main event, and we will talk about that in a second. But to me, I thought this was such a poor decision. There was so much left with Restart as a team.
Yeah.
That they just threw away for Julia should be the main champion and not the artist champion. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
I think this is because Kai won't work like monthly shows. But no, that is actually not true. Yeah, that is actually not true because she's booked for the yoga show.
She said she wanted to wrestle more.
Yeah, true. I am confused. I don't know.
Man, it's such a great team that they have here. They had something with this. And like they pissed it away.
I think they did it because the story for Sayori Anu, the story was her losing. And
and I get that. I will make this point after the main event because I have something to say about that. I get it, but I still think this was all wrong to do it right away. Like why?
Yeah.
Why now?
I don't know. This booking decision, along with the main event, is just weird because the restart trio was so cool and it could have kept going so well. I don't know.
I mean, they're cool. I love Julia.
Mai Sakurai, one of the most improved wrestlers in this company. So.
And great with the crowd. She's found a great spot because her character is very over with the fans. That. Tekla, I think, is a very solid worker. They're a good team, but there's nothing there that the Restart had. As a team, they don't have the same energy to them. My issue with the match, I was going to bring this up. The attendance was what it was, but also the fans were not exactly rabid for these matches either. Compared to Wato and Titan the day after, for sure.
Compared to the last to Yokohama Arena, where the crowd was electric the whole show.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this crowd was not in a great spot throughout. I think this is a match where you could probably point to it most that it did anything. But to me, I still loved it anyway, personally. I thought it was a great match. Just the wrestling was good. I hate the title change. I just utterly disagree with it. There's nothing they could do that would make me justify this.
Shockingly, this is the longest match on the card.
That's true. Yeah, 40 seconds longer than the main event here.
That is actually really shocking to me because I thought the main event was longer.
It's shocking to me. This was a long show. Like, watching it. I don't have exact numbers, but when I watched it, it felt like a long show, 4 or 5 hours or something. And then you look at the match times, and
they had a long intermission though. But yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. My stupid fault for watching it when I did, but
total runtime of this show was 3 hours and 47 minutes.
Almost 4 hours, and you look at the longest match was 18 minutes. Crazy how that worked. But yeah, that intermission must have been really longer than I even thought going in there. But the main event, 17 minutes 43 seconds here, like you said. Double title match, Red versus White. Tom Nakano beating Mina Shirakawa, becoming double champion, White and Red at the same time, Wonder and World. Tom Nakano has conquered Stardom completely. Tom Road is at its apex.
Tom now has joined Mayu Iwatani as the only one that has held both titles at the same time. She's also the fourth wrestler to be a two-time Wonder of Stardom champion, along with Akira Yasukawa, Mayu Iwatani, and Io Shirai. That is a stat that I think they wanted Tom to have, of course, because she won this. But I do think that this has convinced me even more than I already was convinced that this is Tom's final run on top. This is Tom's ultimate run that she's gonna have her legacy run where she holds the red and white at the same time because that is what it is kind of like something you can go back to all the time to talk about the impact Tom Nakano had, and you can go at the picture with her with both titles, and you'll say, yeah, this was a pretty good career for her. However, this match, of course, we'll talk about the match, but the result is so much more than the match.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that's more interesting than the match is what happened.
Yeah, this killed Mina Shirakawa's awesome run, which the thing was, this Mina Shirakawa run had proved that wrong sayers, had proved that people that hated on her before she won the title wrong, because she had one defense, and it was great. It was fantastic. It was one of the best starter matches this year, her and Nazi Boy. And the thing was, she had been so hot, the crowd was so behind her at Yokohama Arena, and she had been so hot on the shows between now and the Yokohama Arena, and for her to have only a 34-day reign is such a disservice to her, the story she did leading up to the title win.
Her story was messed up from the start, where they started the Club Venus stuff, and it led to a really wonky build. I personally didn't think her match with Tall Saya was that great.
The Tall Saya match was fine, but the Poi match was so good.
Yeah, it's like you've got one great match you can point to, really. And I thought that her reign was going to be short anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought it would be short also, but for it to be this transitional felt a bit disservice.
Well, losing Tom is not what anybody expected.
Yeah.
Or wanted overall. And yeah.
This roster is so stacked that there's no room for a single champion. A single world champion. And I'm saying world champion because they have treated the white belt as a world title for years. Ever since Stardom started, they have treated the Wonder Stardom title as a world title.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the world name in it, but it is considered a world title because it has main evented shows, sometimes over the red belt. So it is a very prestigious belt. And for it to, when Mayu won it, at those both titles at the same time, that was because she was the ace. That was because that was during her ace run to establish her to become the ace. I don't see that for Tom Nakano because I don't see Tom Nakano wrestling for the next 10 years.
I don't think she's going to retire. Like I said, I've said it before. She likes attention. Like the not Tom Nakano, the person who plays the Tom Nakano character. That is her. That everything she does is calculated for that goal, to get attention on herself, which is a great quality for a wrestler to have. And it's led to her having amazing success. I don't think she's going to walk away. But the only thing I will say is, like I said, if things weren't so crazy up and down this card, I think I would say that, okay, maybe this is something, a gold watch type of deal. Squeeze every bit of juice you can before she retires. But it's hard to imagine. Plus, any retirement in wrestling is there's no real wrestling retirement, right? Everybody comes out eventually, for the most part. In Joshi, it can be a little bit different if she wanted to start a family, which, I have no knowledge of that. It's not like she's telling me these things. Well, she did say that she wanted to have a match where she wanted to determine her future husband. And anybody who wants to marry her must wrestle in this tournament. The Budokai Tenkaichi.
Yeah.
Which, as we said, that made me like her more, that she likes Dragon Ball Z, as we know. Any Dragon Ball fan is...
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's Tom Nakano. She's my favorite in this company, but it is too much for her to hold both titles right now.
It's so out of nowhere, this is my problem with all of this. And, literally everything I don't like that they've done the last few months, dating back to her winning the title in the first place. I think all of these things are mistakes, not because of them happening, if we did if we had all of these things happen, Tom beats Julia, Restart loses the trios titles and sets up Saori going as a heel. Tom beats Mina. Because actually, Mina losing is the logical, with this storyline, this was the logical finish. of Tom beating her because she got too greedy. And that's why I kind of had a feeling that it wasn't. Everyone was so sure it was going to a draw. I kind of thought that they were going to pull a swerve here based on what they did before. And they did. And like I said, if you just look at it in a vacuum, this was the logical finish. And I would be okay with it. The problem with all of these things I said, they're so rushed and so unsatisfying to what they could have been if you had drugged things out more and built to them properly, which they did. They were masters of the last 2 years of building these epic and great storylines to have totally amazing finishes and things that everyone loves. But for some reason, I don't know what changed in the last 6 months. It feels like something has changed with this company, and I don't know why it happened or who made that decision. And it's proving to be completely unsuccessful. You look at the attendances on this show. You mentioned the attendance for many other shows this year. Why did they change from where they were in the last 2 years? Right? It's one of those things I just can't understand at all. Did somebody get more power? Like, did Rossi get bored and trust the wrong person? I don't understand it. Because I don't understand this company at all right now. They were the best company in Japan last year, easily, in my opinion, especially booking-wise. No company's flawless. I'm not going to say they were, but they had as close as you could get, I would say, last year. And this year, there's so much that I just don't understand why they rushed through these things to, even going back to the start of the year again. Never mind that Julia lost to Tom, but they had to rush through Julia and Suzu, which could have been a great dramatic thing, and it led to an unsatisfying match. Like, why are they doing these things? I don't understand it. And that's my big issue. I don't mind that Tom beat Mina. I don't even necessarily mind that she's double champion if she loses it fast, which is I do think is going to happen. I do expect this to end very soon.
Seem like it could.
Like, Mirai's challenging for the white belt. Going in.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
Notably, she's asked for the white belt. She asked for the Wonder title.
This is another thing they screwed up terribly. The Cinderella tournament was awful throughout it, and then the winner, they've totally bungled Mirai after winning the tournament to now. It's funny because they rushed through so many things and then drug that out so long to where it doesn't mean as much now. And it just seems like the purpose of that is just to prevent these double titles from being a thing for very long. And I'm not that interested in that match, even though they're two of my favorite people talent-wise. Mirai and Tom Nakano are great performers. But I'm not that into this match, to be honest with you, just with how it's been built up, going for the white belt.
Yeah.
And another thing, I think if they had done the red versus white belt, like, let's rewind. Let's imagine Julia and Talsaya retained their titles, and they did a red versus white belt match. That would be a major, major match that I think would get a ton of interest. And even, no matter who, like, won or drew or whatever, I think that match would have felt like a huge deal. This, to me, did not feel like a huge deal that a belt versus belt match should have. And,
I mean, we said that before the match even happened.
yeah, and that's true. But even watching it, it still didn't feel that way to me. Even though it was a good match, like, they wrestled good. These are good performers. Like, Mina and Tom are great wrestlers.
Yeah, the match itself was a, like, really great match. The problem is that it's forgotten because of the aftermath.
Yeah.
Because you were expecting the time limit, you were asking yourself, why are they so, like, urgent? Why is this so, they aren't dragging this out at all. And that was great because the match was urgent. It was quick. It was fast paced. It was a match where they did so much great exchanges that I almost got mad when I saw some people say that Tom Nakano can't have, like, fun in-ring matches.
What?
I've seen people say that Tom Nakano only relies on the lore and.
Well, it goes into her matches, though.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I personally, I mean, this is not me bragging after the fact. This is actual factual. Sondre, you can attest to it. Because I mentioned that I thought it was a possibility that Tom would win the other day. And your immediate response was, no, that would be terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible.
And you were right. Like, we were both right. At the end of the day, I was right that the title would change, and you were right that it's terrible out there.
But it's terrible because this roster is so good. It's such a good roster. Like, people earlier on the show, people were already complaining that some people were left out of the 5-star.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Because even when they put 20 of their best people in one tournament, there were still people that they left out that people want to see in the match, in the tournament. Because this roster is so good. It is a roster that is way too talented to have a double champion. And I hope it is in the long run. But if we in December are talking about Tom Nakano holding both titles going into the Queendom, Dream Queendom, not All-Star Queendom, but the December year-end show, that would be a mistake. It would be a very big mistake to have Tom Nakano hold both titles going into their last pay-per-view of the year.
Oh, I totally agree.
I hope they don't do that. Another thing, I know they have promised that they won't do this, and I trust Rossi on this, but I am just a little bit worried that Bushiroad might get their some ideas into their head to unify the titles into one, and that would be probably the biggest mistake they could do.
Nah, the thing is, everyone overreacts to the New Japan one. The thing is, the Intercontinental title sucked. Like, at the time. Like, it had no prestige left because they'd beaten it to the ground.
Yeah, but the Wonder title is nothing like the Intercontinental.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, the Wonder title actually means something. Like, you know, like that, they're not going to do that for that reason. If we go to, hey, if this title reign continues on and things get south, maybe in a year or two, we may look at that, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really think Mirai's going to win. And I hope to see that, you know, overall. I mean, remember, they stretched this out, too. So, just the next month or so, they have a couple of things planned for June. They have a few shows, actually. They have a pretty decent tour going in there. The first thing is on the 18th. Like, there's shows before then, but the first important thing that happens is the 18th, where you've got the 5-star qualification rumble. We'll get to the announced people, but you mentioned a lot of people that people wanted to be in aren't in.
They are in the qualifying rumble.
Exactly, yeah. So it's going to be down to 2. Like, whoever the last 2 is are going to be the last 2. Notably,
Hanan can't be in this because she was injured.
Yes.
So that means Hanan won't be in the 5-star at all.
Yeah, exactly.
That is sad news. For people that don't know that much about Stardom, that is very sad news that Hanan is not going to be in the 5-star.
Yeah, like a young prospect, was the ace of the future, third division, but got moved out of that. She got new gear and stuff, new music. Looked like she was going to get something here. Maybe this can... No, she's a bit young to do an excursion. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be excursions, period, no matter who it is. Overall in Stardom, like, that's not even part of their style. And if she was in the tournament, she probably wouldn't win much. Like, you know, you're looking at 1, maybe 2 at best.
Yeah, but all the matches would be good because she's a great wrestler. But
yeah, Hanan's really improved over the years. Good stuff. But people are actually in the Rumble. You've got Koguma, Bobo Kogo, Saya Ida, Rina and Hina, Miyu Masaki, Lady C, Mai Sakurai, Tekla, Saki Kashima, Fukigen Death, Ruwaka, Waka Tsukiyama, Mariah May, Meisera, Yuna Mizumori, Hanako, and Aya Sakura, the 2 young rookies here. So who do you have scoped out for the 2 spots?
Meisera. She has to.
That's
she has to. That is the one that has to win.
I fear it won't be, but I hope that it is.
It would be. Like she is fresh to the roster. She's new to the roster, so she should be in it. And I mean, I predict that Mariah May and Mai Sakurai are the 2.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, that's exactly who I think it's going to be. and I hope it's not.
I hope it's Tekla and Mei Seira.
I want Mei Seira and Koguma if it were my picks. I think Koguma adds something different that they could use.
But Tekla didn't get to be in the 5-star last year. She was supposed to be in.
That's true.
And I feel like they want to give her that because she wasn't able to do that last year. And she's Artist Stardom champion right now.
Yeah, if they wanted to that much, she would have been in the first place. Like, if that's what it was about, overall.
Yeah.
Tekla.
But she's also the Artist Stardom champion right now.
That's what I was saying. Like, I think it could be Tekla and Maya as well. Like, those would be my 3 people I predict would be.
I wouldn't put all the Artist champions in there, but yeah.
But I think Sakurai is a pretty safe bet. Fan reaction overall. But I mean, anybody. I mean, Saki's the high-speed champion, and she's in this.
Yeah.
I don't think titles really affect that much. Like, overall, in this tournament, I fear to be Mai and Mei. Like I said, me personally, I want Sarah and Koguma. I think would be the best. But I mean, there's a lot of good options. I mean, Kogo had a great match with Willow on Resurgence. Sight, always fun. Never pushed, but always fun.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
As we said, this roster is so good. Yuno Mitamori.
Yeah, Yuno would be a great pick. I'd be all for that. I don't think it'll be her, but sure. Well, and I think we'll get to the tournament now. Let's talk about who's in the tournament, because they announced the other 18 participants here.
Not the block.
Yeah, no blocks yet, but just the 18 people in. We'll obviously have a better grasp of things when they do announce the blocks and everything, so keep that in mind. Mayu Iwatani, Hazuki, Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, Utami Hayashishita, Saya Kamatani, Azumi, Julia, Maika, Tom Nakano, the double champ going for everything this year, the champions and the tournament all at the same time. Natsupoi, Saori Ano, Mina Shirakawa, Shuri, Ami Sarai, Mirai, and Suzuki are all in. I think
awesome is it that Saori Ano is in it? Oh.
Well, I think this is my main issue with this tournament right now, this group. I think the thing is, I know everybody complained about how many people there were in the tournament last year, but it led to a lot of great matches. Like, even with 26 people, and they cut that down to 20.
It also led to the tournament being from July to October.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone complains about that. To me, I didn't mind because it was all good wrestling at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'd rather the tournament last and have important matches than have it last till the end of August and in September be nothing, like tag matches all the time, which sometimes happens.
I think it will lead to the end of September, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, but at the same time, I like it too because the thing is, there's a lot of talented people in that Battle Royal that we said, but none of them have a prayer of winning the tournament. So you cut off some of the fat, so to speak. Even if they're talented, we know that they're not going to be pushed in this roster with this super stacked lineup of people they had for the 5-star. The only one that really stands out is Natsuko. Like, everyone else is either good to great, I would say, in the tournament. So, I mean, this, and Momo I'm really down on as well. No way, no tie. But other than those two, I think everyone else was guaranteed to have a lot of great matches. Even some people I'm not super in love with, but I still think they're going to be in a position to do great things. I mean, to me, again, this company is so out of whack right now and just bad booking wise. I don't know who to think is going to win. Like, I think it could be anybody, but she's not really on my list. Like,
I have said with Tommy since this year started.
Why not?
I mean, she has had her 2022 was her year off after her great 2021, where she was the rest of the year in Stardom, and now she's going to go back on that. I'm the next big star of the company run, and I think her winning her second 5-star this time in front of a cheering crowd that I can actually cheer will be the moment. So yeah, this is gonna be fun. The 5-star every year is fun.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I don't know how you can be confident about anything right now. You know, it's like it was the same thing with everyone thought the draw was going to be this surefire thing, and it didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
Everyone thought Julie was going to win. Like, I don't think you could be saying,
I said Tom Knockno was going to win.
You did, and you definitely got the edge on that. You didn't say but you did say it was going to be a draw.
Yeah, I thought today was going to be a draw, but yesterday was going to be a draw. But yeah, hopefully Mariah is the Wonder of Stardom champion during this run, because then there will be 2 top champions in this tournament that can take pins instead of future matches. Suzuki is also a shout to win the tournament. Saya Kamitani if they want to do that. But I
forgot to mention too, not to cut you off, but a big reason why I think Mariah's going to win is they stretch that match out. That's going to happen in July. Mariah versus Tom for the Wonder title. I think they did that on purpose to kind of make Tom, give Tom an artificial reign, so to speak. But maybe I'll be wrong. I actually think it would be kind of funny if Tom was double champion in the tournament and a player gunning to win the tournament. I think would be interesting, in a comical way kind of. It's like, hey, she's got both the titles and she's going to win the tournament to determine her own challenger. Yeah. I think that would be kind of fun. But yeah, Saya, I think would probably be my pick if you put a gun to my head. But
the thing is, I think this in the months running, I think the final could be Saya versus Utami, and having that story blow off there. Because I think they're going to turn on each other inside the cage. That is going to lead to the end of Queen's Quest.
Yep. I wish it would be a Wato title so much.
Yeah, but it's not going to.
If they broke up a Wato tie, that would improve this company significantly. I would say, right, even with a lot of their mistakes they've made, I would say. Queen's Quest, you could argue they all need a fresh coat of paint.
They all do.
Yeah, so I'm not against it on that end. And maybe this will set up some big pushes for some people. I mean, Saya's always been pushed, so it's not like...
Also, I forgot to mention that in their second cage match is the Artist of Stardom title match of Julia, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla defending against the Stars trio of Mayu Utani, Koguma, and Hazuki.
That'll be a great match.
Yeah, that will be the spot heavy cage match. The QQ and Weathertide will be the unit warfare storyline cage match.
Yeah,
like Poi and Tom was last year.
Yeah, but that was good though. Tom
and Poi. The thing was that had a story with it, just like this QQ and Weathertide has.
I mean, it really doesn't though. It was kind of out of nowhere. They did this Queen's Quest versus the Wato tie deal.
No, they've been beefing forever. The last time QQ and Wato tie was in a big match, unit match, it turned into Momo joining the Wato tie.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, but the story has been, they have been beefing since then.
Yeah, it just hasn't been very prominent. I would say, overall, I guess, it's not something. I mean, it's a Wato tie, so there's nothing they could do that would make me.
Kid and Saya Kamitani had the Wonder of Stardom title match.
Yeah, that was pretty good. It was all right.
Momo and Saya, that also happened.
Yeah, that was bad.
Natsuko Tora and Utami have feuded ever since Natsuko Tora got injured.
Yeah, that's why it's a natural deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not an Wato tie fan, so there's nothing they can do that would make me like what they do.
Technically, Wato tie and QQ has feuded since Natsuko Tora left Queen's Quest to join Wato tie, so.
Wow. When was that?
It was before the pandemic.
That's what I'm saying. I thought Man.
Yeah.
I thought she was in Jungle Assault Nation. I don't remember her being in the Wato time, or Queen's Quest.
She was in Queen's Quest. For this?
Tora was?
Yeah.
Wow, I totally forgotten about that era, so to speak.
I think so.
Are you sure? Because I don't think that happened, but okay, whatever. Going on there, because I remember her in Jungle Assault Nation, leaving for a Wato tie, but it was a long time ago. We're talking about stuff that happened 4 or 5 years ago as well.
Yeah. I might be. I feel like that is what led to that, but yeah.
Yeah, Queen's Quest was originally like EO's group with.
Yeah, we know. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, whatever. Like I said, no matter what, I'm not going to like that match at all. So, overall, like I said, I'm pretty sure that it didn't, but whatever. Like I said, I just want to watch this match. Overall.
I'm really hyped for that match. That is probably my most hyped match going into Stardom's June.
Well, you're clearly more of an Wato type fan.
No, I'm more of a Queen's Quest fan. I am so into this Utami and Sayakamtani story.
I'm a Queen's Quest fan. I don't want them to break up.
Yeah, but I'm very into this Utami and Saya story. That's the thing.
Push Azumi and Utami, even though it'll probably be Saya. It's like the one that I like the least. But right now, we'll see. Like I said, last year I was so high on Stardom that it's really tough right now for me. I'm at a crisis.
They had a tough summer last year until the 5-star also. Like the Delta Boy turn came out of nowhere. It was a weak build up. She turned on Donald Del Mondo after she had feuded with Tom. Like Stardom had a week.
I mean, that was bad. That was bad, but it was after a great cage match with her, like a great feud with Poi and Tom, and then immediately led to a great pairing. So even though the turn itself was bad, but that's like one minor bad thing, like in a otherwise great year. The 5-star did last a little long, and I didn't like how they padded it out with like random shows that had.
They're doing that again this year.
That's another issue. Nanai going for the red belt in the middle of the tournament. Yeah, like, I didn't like that part at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it was a tough summer. I thought it was a really good summer with one blemish that you can point to, and maybe a couple you can point to, but nothing like this. Like the red belt, the white belt were on great courses, and all the titles were doing great things. FCC, man, what happened to my FCC as a champion? That's another thing. Like. They're nowhere pushed right now.
They're going for the other titles.
And what could be a great match, but who's to say? Like, maybe they will win for all we know. Like I said, there's no telling on that end. But man, that restart turn is bummer. Going in there. But I will see. Like I said, I didn't like the show that much. Even matches.
Also announced for June is Tom, Poi, Kyrie versus Micah, Suzu, and Sarah. That, on paper, man.
This Micah, Suzu, and Sarah, that's probably the thing I'm most excited about in the company at the moment, is them teaming all the time. Like, that's the one thing I think has, like, truly legit upside to be something really good and special.
I could see Micah asking for the red belt title match in that match.
Oh, man. I would love that. Any one of them. But Micah would be the one you would think that would get the red belt shot there. Micah, I love seeing her get a push too. I hope that's something. That is one good thing I definitely will say, because Micah May did take a back. Sure.
Have you seen the high speed title match announced on the same shows as Tom and Mirai?
Saki and Fuki and this.
That is lame. That is a very lame.
What did I tell you? I told you earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I agreed with you. I wanted Asumi to win that also.
or at least
yeah. It's just lame that they went to that same pairing we just saw in the three-way.
That's true. I think that, like, Saki holding the title, I think it's going to be tough to tell something like a main type of story with him. I think it'll be interesting how they get around that, because
they need the SWA title match. The title back. They just need a mid-card title that other people can go for.
Yeah, it's tough because, like, sometimes all these titles, I mean, when it was around, a lot of people complained about having too many titles.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, with a great roster, it's just like, look at the tournament. We just said it there. Ultimately, if you have a roster this good, then some things are just going to get, like, some people are going to get left out. Like, just look at, like, you go on about Utami, but, like, ever since she lost the title, she really hasn't been any kind of player at all in the company. And that's just going to happen sometimes. It's not that bad of a thing.
No.
Overall.
It is normal.
Yeah, like if you have it's normal. It's not normal because most rosters aren't nearly as good as this one. I would say, but in a perfect world, if everyone had rosters as good as Stardom, that's how it would work. People would get cycled in and out.
The thing is, Utami, when she dropped the red belt throughout 2022, after that, she was Balloon Okada. The problem was that she was Balloon Okada for the whole year, and not for just a couple of months. Like,
the only difference is her look was an upgrade as emo Utami, instead of the Balloon Okada, which was like a goofy look.
Boy, I think she's turning heel. But yeah.
We'll see what happens. Going in there, like I said, nothing has really captured my interest. Right now with Stardom, I think they're like way worse than they were even 2 months ago. To be honest,
the thing about Stardom is that no matter what is happening with Stardom, I love talking about Stardom.
It's always fun to talk about, yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot. They always have a lot to talk about on their shows. And,
I'm in crisis right now because this is a company that, like, whenever all the other companies would let me down, Stardom had me, and now they don't have me no more. Man, so I'm a little bummed out, on that end. But listen, just like I was saying, like we literally just said like a minute ago, this roster is so talented that even on their bad shows with stuff that I don't even like and makes me hate them, we still had 2 or 3 really strong matches on this show, And there's certain companies where if things hit the fan and things are going bad, then you don't get anything good to praise upon. Like look at the end of last year with All Japan. That was really rough. There was nothing. There was no 2 or 3 great matches on any of the big All Japan shows last year. After post Budokan. So yeah. I've seen eras and companies that are so uninteresting. The New Japan in the pandemic, before the last year or so, there was a lot of shows there that were just terrible to watch. Like nothing good, nothing interesting happening. Same old, same old. If you're going to look for a positive, I guess, would be they're clearly trying, I think maybe on purpose, to be different than they were. Maybe, because that is a complaint a lot of people had, which makes me kind of bitter because it's so much worse now. But maybe they thought they were too predictable before, and they wanted to switch things up and be, outlandish and do things nobody expects all the time to be more unpredictable. And that can be fun. We'll see how it plays out. So far, I have to say, all of my fears that I had with all of these moves that I don't like have kind of made me look right, like so far. But we're still not even halfway through the year as well. We can make determinations at the end of the year because who's to say things don't get on track, and who's to say things don't pay off? I mean, maybe that Queen's Quest deal turns into this epic angle, like you were talking about.
Hey. This is my last thing I'm going to say about this Queen's Quest cage match. Naruki Doi and Yamato fought in 2016's cage match.
Maybe some people in Queen's Quest are Dragon Gate fans, and they could use that.
Asune, I'm looking at you. Please, please just sit and pitch that to Saya and Utami.
In every situation, Azumi is who we turn to. When stuff hits the fan, Azumi is who we have to turn to. When our back is against the wall, you turn to the one you know will have you, and that is always Azumi. But regardless of that, Stardom, always fun to talk about. We went pretty long talking about it just because we're so passionate about the company, even though it's
that title switch is something I will be able to talk about a long time. Yeah.
I don't know. We are
bad or good. It is worth talking about.
Yeah, me and Tom. I mean, it was a lot of people were very surprised, and on that end, at least. Again, that's the one thing you say. At least They're unpredictable right now. I think that is one good thing we can look at. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, I don't have a lot of confidence in any predictions at the moment. I don't have a feel for where this new booking strategy is going, which can be interesting overall. Like, it'll be fun to see. So I'm just going to sit back and see how it plays out. There's still plenty of time left for things to get good. And like you said, your enthusiasm for that angle is making me like it a little better. Like, at least be a little bit more interested into it. Once they get past the wait a time match, I think I might be able to become a full-fledged fan of whatever they've got planned going on there. But regardless of that, though, thank you for coming on, as always, talking about New Japan, talking about Stardom. Always a lot of fun having you on here. And if you got anything you want to say to the people out there and plug anything you like, now is your time to shine, my friend. What do you got to say?
Listen to Dramatic Dream Dragons. We on the Five Star Network. We cover DDT and Dragon Gate weekly, and me and Dylan, on Friday had a great talk, just catching up on Dragon Gate and a little bit of Police also. So we touched on the title matches that has happened this month, and it was a great show. So definitely check out that. You can find me on Twitter at Sondre Bjørn. It is pretty easy to find.
That's right. You're doing some big things right now. Got a lot of new people on your Discord. Got a lot of new followers on Twitter. Got some people listening to our show, and hopefully everybody enjoys that. Our last episode, too, on Dramatic Dream Dragons was pretty fun. Too, we talked about GLEAT, mainly, on there. That was a big part of the show, along with a lot of DG stuff and Saki Akai's retirement.
Yeah, Saki Akai retirement news. Big stuff.
Yeah, a lot of big stuff going on there, not to get too deep into it here, but Saki Akai retiring, that's a loss to DDT. Hopefully they have a lot of good stuff going on there. I know with STRIGGA gets back, we'll probably talk about all that stuff a little bit more, especially heading into Peter Pan, because I know he's a big fan of all of that stuff. So hopefully he's out safe, doing good things as well. As for me, you already know what I'm up to. Follow me at Viva_0. Follow me at Eastern Lariat on Twitter. Listen to Dramatic Dream Dragons. It was a lot of fun. Listen to Wrestle Update. We just did reviews on a bunch of stuff. We reviewed the Night of Champions show, and me and Sondre are going to be back. Probably if you listen to it when it releases, or it may already be out by the time you do. If you wait a little bit, wait a couple of days to listen. We will do a show review on AEW's Double or Nothing show. It's going to be a ton of fun. That's another one where, there's some stuff that I'm not particularly excited about or into, but it's going to be fun to talk about at least. There, so that's good. And I may apologize for Sondre for recruiting him on board for this if it turns out bad.
Me reviewing AEW with Dylan is making me have to watch the whole show. So that was not the plan originally, but I'm going to do it.
You're like the Azumi of my life, Sondre. You're the one I turn to, like when my back is against the wall on here. So that's going to be a lot of fun, though. Hopefully everybody enjoys that. Hopefully everybody enjoys my other shows. Lucha Talk will be back next month, too. Probably in a week or two we'll have a new episode. I don't know exactly how we're going to do that, but the episode that we came back to was so fun. We got a bunch of comments about it that were very nice. I really appreciate that out there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this show as well. Cannot wait to be back talking about all kinds of stuff in the future. I know All Together's right around the corner. We'll see if STRIGGA's back by then, or we may have another guest host. I'm not 100% sure, but the door is open. Hopefully he can get back, and if not, I will do something for the big shows coming up with Dominion and All Together coming up. We'll do something one way or the other, and you got to tune in right here to the Eastern Lariat for all of it. Go on to Patreon, patreon.com/Eastern Lariat. I'm going to have a review for the All Japan show tomorrow as well on there. Toyota Tuesdays, almost into the new features era, so to speak. Anything we don't cover on here is probably going to be on the Patreon, so check it out. Just $5 a month. Very easy to get on there and a lot of cool stuff. So thank you guys, as always. You know I love you. And until next time, sayonara.